All right, y'all all remember Grandpa Jones from Ehaw? You would look with me this morning. Look with me to Luke chapter 2. Larry had asked me this morning, sent me a message and asked me if I had would download that. See if you can. Yeah, twice. All right. Look with me in Luke chapter 2. Now, we take and we look this morning at we talked last week about the nativity. Now, most of the time when you see the nativity and all, what is in the nativity? It's the baby Jesus. All right. What else is in the nativity? Say.
Shepherds.
Shepherds. All right. What else?
Three kings.
Three kings. All right.
Some animals.
Also known as the wise men. All right. Mary.
Joseph.
Mary and Joseph. All right.
Some animals.
Got some animals in there. Got a donkey or two or a sheep or something in there, right? All right. It looks all neat and all wonderful, doesn't it? Well, I'm probably going to mess that all up for you this morning. Look in here. Look in Luke chapter 2, and where we was last week. And we remember last week, and it said Mary kept all these things in her heart, and he pondered them in her heart. I'm sorry. She kept all these things and pondered them. All right. And the shepherds, and they returned, glorifying and praising God for all that they had heard and seen, and it was told unto them. Now, if we look, Bethlehem was about 6 miles south of Jerusalem. All right, that's where it was. Miss Paula debated me on that this morning. And here on YouTube, going around, and you watched around the world, Paula. See, I am going to take and get to do that video. She challenged me on that a while ago. And who was right about the mileage?
You.
Say that a little bit louder there into the camera.
You.
All right. Second time in 25 years, Mr. Frank, that I've actually been right about something. All right. All right, but look, it says Jerusalem was located, excuse me, Bethlehem was about 6 miles south of Jerusalem. All right. So, if we look here in verse 21, it says, and when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcision of the child, his name was called Jesus, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. You remember the angel appeared to Mary and to Joseph and was told to them all off the bat that his name would be Jesus. All right. They didn't have to wonder or try to come up with a name or look at list or Google it or come up with a half of this family and half of that family. The name was already decided. And when the days of her purification, according to the law of Moses, were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem, those 6 miles, to present him to the Lord. Now, Paul and I were talking yesterday while we went to Shreveport and all, and we had a little time to ride, so we had a little time to talk. And Paula was talking about Mary. And you go to thinking about that, and ladies, maybe you can appreciate this probably a little bit more than us men can or whatever. But the estimated age of Mary was what, Paula? From 13 to 16 years old. All right, that's not doctrinal, that's not theologically sound and all of that, you understand? That's estimated age of Mary, 13 to 16 years old. Now, she had already made this really, really, really long trip, hard trip, riding on a donkey, all right, big time pregnant, got there to the town, no room in the inn, no reservations or whatever. Paula and I, it's funny, we pulled up to a restaurant last night, and we could tell real quick that whenever we pulled up and they valet parked, that maybe we were probably in the wrong spot. And when we walked in the door, they looked at us and said, "Can we help you?" I didn't think we were dressed that bad, but we didn't have reservations, and we didn't get a table. All right, so it was funny. We talked about last week. But once they got there, she was there for 8 days at Bethlehem, and now she's got to take and pick up and go again. All right. So Mary's not had a good time, has she? She hasn't had an easy time at all. She had 8 days in which to rest, and really wasn't a lot of rest because, well, they had a good bit of company. All right. I remember how when our kids were born, I didn't want any company the first few days or whatever. It didn't make any difference, but we got it. But there's a time in which Mary is there, and it's 8 days later, and it's time to go into Jerusalem to present him, take him to the temple, and present him to the Lord. And it is written in the law of the Lord, every male that openeth the womb shall be called holy to the Lord. And to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. All right. Excuse me. So, how would you like to have had Mary's birth? How would you like to have rode on the donkey, and then a few days later you got to pick up and you got to travel again? Now, 8 days later, ladies, were y'all ready to ride a donkey or to walk 8 days? 6 miles. Okay. Y'all not going to talk this morning. You're going to stay real quiet. All right. Let's look at Matthew chapter 2. Matthew chapter 2. We'll talk about the Magi, or the kings, or the wise men. We said we always took and we always looked in there at the nativity scene, and we always see the wise men there, don't we? Well, Parthia, where they were at, was 500 miles away from Jerusalem. That's a long ways, 500 miles. All right, so they think that if they took and they traveled very quickly, it would have took at least 50 to 60 days. But we don't know exactly how long it took them to go from where they were at to where the Christ Jesus was. But we always take and we always look there, and it's always kind of traditional. But look in Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born the King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and we have come to worship him." Now, we said right now that the Star of Bethlehem is actually visible this year. You can actually see it. They have been able to take and to see it. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Why in the world would King Herod be troubled about the birth of a little bitty baby?
Said he was to be king.
He was to be king. And not only was Herod troubled, who else was troubled? If you look in there, it says, there's 3 little letters in there. It said, all of Jerusalem with him. So not only was Herod kind of upset and he was concerned, but it said all of Jerusalem. The word had gotten around, hadn't it? And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. No other child, no other baby has ever been born in the history of the world that caused such a stir. When he said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet. And that's also referring back to Micah chapter 5 verse 2. That verse that I told you about last week is how it was foretold. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of there shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. All right, he's done called them in, and he is quizzing them. He's asking them. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when you have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and to worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. Now, not only did the wise men take and seek Christ out, not only did they take and they traveled, but they were actually sent by Herod. Now, were the wise men going anyway?
Yeah.
They were going anyway. And not only were they going anyway, but now then they're being sent by King Herod. And he's trying to trick them, he's trying to fool them, he's trying to take and say, go find the baby so that whenever you find it, tell me, and that way I can take and come and I want to worship him too. Well, that we all know that that was far from the truth, that he just simply wanted them to go and to do his dirty work. He wanted them to take and to go and to find out where this child was. It was a deceit. It says, and when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. What did the star do?
Guided them. Guided them.
All right, it was a sign. They followed the star, right? They followed the star, and when they were coming to the house, they saw the young child with Mary. And if you notice that, it doesn't say that they saw the baby, did they? It says that they saw the young child. All right, so Jesus is not still in the, I hate to take and dispel that, but he's not still in the manger, because we know that 8 days after he was born, they left and went to Jerusalem. It's really messing your nativity scene up. They saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and they worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented him unto gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now I read Kobe Bennett's wife put a deal on there the other morning. They were rehearsing. I guess he had a little quiz or a little test the other morning, and on there, Bentley had put on there that it was gold, Frankenstein, and myrrh. He got real close, all right? So I thought that was really, really cute and really neat that they were studying that, and he was being taught the true meaning of Christmas. Amen? So if he got close as Frankenstein, that's great. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. Now these kings, these wise men, they brought him the gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They brought the very best that they had, that they could find. They recognized who Christ was, that even as a small child, that he was going to be a king, that there was something different about him. You have baby showers and stuff that you attend, and you bring little outfits and all. I went to Walmart and helped Paula pick out little outfits and different things or whatever. The other day, it was quite, I don't know if it was funny or hilarious or whatever it was, but someone went into the Goodwill the other day to find a last-minute baby shower gift. Did y'all hear this on the news? All right. And on this, they found it was a car seat or something. Last minute baby shower gift. They went to Goodwill, and whenever they bought this car seat thing, they got it home. There was an automatic assault rifle in the car seat. Okay, so whatever it was, somebody said, well, who goes in there to get a last minute baby gift anyway? But anyway, it was a weird deal. But these three wise men brought the very best that they had. Frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Don't today, as when we take and present ourselves to Christ, don't we bring our very best? We should bring our very, very best as we take and prepare ourselves. As we take and we look, and it says, of being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed in their own country another way. We take and we look at the deceit and how Herod was trying to take and to trick them, how they were taking and trying to throw them off. They were not sincere in finding Christ at all. As we take and we go along and we look at the different things in which Christ represented even as a child and how the impact that they made. A baby. As we took him, we had our three kids, and it was quite funny as they were all born. Tanner was born. Taylor was kind of give us a heart attack there. He wasn't breathing like he needed to be breathing, and Tess, whenever she breathed or whatever, that last one, that girl, the joy that we felt, that we still feel. There was something put on there this week that one time or another you're going to pick your child up for the very last time. And I got to thinking about that. I used to carry Tess on my shoulders around in Walmart for a long time. She would probably frown if I tried to do that to her now. All right, Carolyn was there Friday when I was fussing at her about the clothes that she had on walking around in there. But our children, the joy that they bring, the impact that they bring not only to us, but the impact that they make to the world. And Jesus Christ was a baby that impacted the world at that time and still impacts the world today. And it's still positive today, and it's also negative today. There are those that still take and seek to destroy. There's those that seek to squash. Those there that seek to suppress what Christ was about, there to suppress his message. That those that still take and try to lead away or destroy what he's there to stand for, just as though it was inherent. But you and I know the true meaning of Christmas, and you and I know what it was all about. And it says, there's a verse in there that says, wise men still seek him. A true wisdom, a true explanation of wisdom. You know that you can take and go in and you can take and get all kind of degrees and all kind of certificates and all of these things and not know Christ and never obtain wisdom. Wise men still seek him. The impact that it makes. We've got baby pictures and we've got all of these different things and all. And as Paul and I were talking last night, I said it won't be long before it'll just be me and her and the dogs, you know, as our kids are starting to take and to get out and to leave, and she's not really wanting to talk about that too much. Our kids. Think about Mary and Joseph. We were talking about different stuff. To come from very, very young kids that actually had kids, the impact that Mary's child had then. Mary didn't have it real easy. 13 to 16 years old, made all of that long trip. When then 8 days later, she was then going, and once they went to the temple, it was a whirlwind, if you will, of different people coming to see Christ and how he was taught and how he was brought up into the temple. And Joseph even got in trouble there because he wasn't watching him and he lost him. We'll see, you can see later. This year, as we go into this Christmas, as we go into it, think about the impact. Think about your own kids. Think about the impact that they've made on those around them. And think about the impact that Christ made. And not only your life, but around those. The difference and the reason for the season this week. Wise men still seeking. If you would, Brother Larry, please.